The Incredible Hulk, the 1977 TV movie pilot that launched the beloved series, introduced the world to Dr. David Banner, a man haunted by a monster within. Starring the brilliant Bill Bixby as the tormented scientist and bodybuilder Lou Ferrigno as his rage-fueled alter ego. The show was less about superheroics and more about the tragic journey of a man on the run. But the creation of this iconic pilot was filled with last-minute changes, bizarre casting stories, and production quirks that even die-hard fans might not know. Here are 20 weird facts you didn't know about The Incredible Hulk, 1977. Number 1. Arnold Schwarzenegger was considered too short to play the Hulk. Before Lou Ferrigno was cast as the Green Goliath, the producers were on the hunt for an actor with a truly superhuman physique. Naturally, their search led them to one of the biggest names in bodybuilding, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Fresh off his pumping iron fame, Arnold seemed like a perfect fit. He had the muscles, the presence, and the star power. There was just one problem. In the eyes of the producers, he wasn't tall enough. While certainly imposing, they felt his height didn't quite match the colossal, larger-than-life image they had for the Hulk. The role required someone who could not only look strong, but also tower over other actors to create a sense of genuine menace and scale. Arnold was passed over, and the casting department continued their search for a hero who was both brawny and tall, a decision that ultimately paved the way for another bodybuilding legend to step into the role. Number 2. The first actor cast as the Hulk was fired for not being bulky enough. While Arnold was just a consideration, another actor was actually cast and filmed scenes as the Hulk before being let go. That actor was Richard Kiel, the 7-foot 2-inch giant best known for playing the steel-toothed villain Jaws in the James Bond films. The producers hired Kiel for his incredible height, but after just 2 days of shooting, they realized he didn't have the muscle mass to match. They wanted a Hulk who looked like a bodybuilder, not just a very tall man. Kiel was let go, and Lou Ferrigno was brought in as a last-minute replacement. However, a tiny bit of Kiel's performance remains in the finished film. There is a very brief high-angle shot where the Hulk looks up at a tree, and if you look closely, you can tell it's the much leaner Richard Kiel in the green makeup. Number 3. Why was Bruce Banner renamed David? In the comics, the Hulk's alter ego is Dr. Robert Bruce Banner. For the TV movie and series, his name was changed to Dr. David Banner. For years, a popular rumor circulated that the name Bruce was changed because network executives thought it sounded too gay.
Been shot! Take her to a hospital! Don't fight me now! Hey, take it easy on her! She's been hurt!
For a lead male character in the 1970s. While creator Kenneth Johnson has disputed this, he has confirmed that the change was his decision. He simply didn't like the alliteration common in comic books, like Peter Parker or Reed Richards, and wanted a name that sounded more grounded and realistic. As a tribute to the source material, however, the film reveals David's middle name is indeed Bruce on his wife's tombstone at the end of the pilot. Number 4. The show's iconic theme song has a heartbreaking name. Perhaps the most enduring element of the entire series is its haunting closing theme, The Lonely Man. The simple, melancholic piano melody, composed by Joe Harnell, perfectly captured the tragedy of David Banner's existence as he hitchhiked from town to town, forever alone. The theme became synonymous with sadness and isolation for a whole generation of viewers. Harnell composed the piece to reflect the core of the show, not the monster, but the man. If you're enjoying this so far, hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome movie facts. And tell us in the comments, what movie brings you the most nostalgia and which one should we cover next? Number 5. The Hulk was a deliberate Frankenstein homage. The show often drew parallels between the Hulk and classic movie monsters, and the pilot contains a direct homage to one of the most famous monsters of all, Frankenstein's. There's a scene where the Hulk, confused and wandering, comes across a little girl fishing by a lake. The way the scene is shot, the Hulk's slow, deliberate approach, the girl's initial curiosity, is a near shot-for-shot recreation of the infamous scene from the 1931 classic Frankenstein, where Boris Karloff's monster encounters a small girl by the water. The major difference, of course, is the outcome. In Frankenstein, the interaction ends in tragedy when the monster accidentally drowns the girl. In The Incredible Hulk, the little girl becomes frightened and runs away, and the Hulk is left alone, highlighting his isolation rather than his capacity for destruction. Number 6. The pilot was filmed incredibly fast. Despite being a feature-length film with car crashes, lab explosions, and extensive makeup effects, the pilot for The Incredible Hulk was shot on a remarkably tight schedule. The entire movie was filmed in just 18 days. This breakneck pace was common for television productions in the 1970s, but is still impressive given the complexity of the project. This efficiency set the standard for the weekly series that followed, where the crew had to deliver an action-packed, emotionally resonant story every week with limited time and resources. Number 7. The Hulk's makeup was originally more monstrous.
And as you can see, the makeup is shiny. Yes. So what they have to do is put a powder on it. They powder it.
The look of the Hulk in the pilot movie is noticeably different from his appearance in the rest of the series. For this initial outing, Lou Ferrigno's makeup was far more detailed and monstrous. He wore a heavy false forehead, a prosthetic nose, bulky dentures, and even bushy, caveman-like eyebrows. While it created a striking creature, the application process was long and grueling. Once the show went to series, the producers realized they couldn't spend that much time on makeup for a weekly production. To save time and money, the look was streamlined. The extra prosthetics were dropped, leaving just the green paint, a wig, and some contact lenses. This change not only made filming more efficient, but also allowed more of Ferrigno's own expressions to come through. Number 8. The pilot features the most detailed transformation scene. The pilot movie features the most detailed and graphic transformation sequence of the entire franchise. To establish the sheer horror of what was happening to David Banner, the filmmakers showed the change in painstaking detail, with shots of muscles bulging, bones shifting, and skin turning green. Later in the series, the transformations were often shortened for time and budget, usually focusing on the iconic glowing eyes and a few quick shots of a shirt ripping. But in the pilot, the audience gets the full, terrifying experience. Number 9. The Hulk remembers more than Banner does. One of the most interesting psychological aspects of the show was the fractured memory between David Banner and his alter ego. As Banner often explained, he had almost no recollection of what happened when he was the Hulk, leaving him with terrifying blackouts and a constant fear of what he might have done.
Okay, get out of here.
The Hulk, on the other hand, seemed to have a much better memory. While he lacked Banner's intellect and reasoning, the creature retained primitive memories of who and what had angered or threatened his human side. He would often seek out the villains who had provoked Banner, even though he didn't understand the complex reasons why. This one-way memory bridge added another layer of tragedy to the story. Banner was tormented by a creature he couldn't control or remember, while the Hulk was a being of pure instinct, acting on a rage whose origins he could never truly comprehend. Number 10. The show's entire opening montage comes from the pilot. The opening credits of The Incredible Hulk are one of the most iconic TV intros of all time, perfectly setting up the show's premise with a montage of dramatic moments. What's surprising is that every single clip used in that opening sequence for the show's entire 5-season run was taken from the pilot movie. From the lab experiment gone wrong and the fiery car crash that kills David's wife to the first Hulk out and the flashes of Banner's desperate search for a cure, it's all there. The pilot was so effective at establishing the world and the character's backstory that the producers never needed to add or change a thing. That montage, backed by a dramatic narration, became the definitive summary of the Hulk's origin for a generation of fans, many of whom may have never even seen the full pilot movie it was sourced from. Number 11. A major character relationship was set up, then dropped. The pilot introduces investigative journalist Jack McGee, played by Jack Colvin, who becomes obsessed with hunting down the mysterious green creature. Throughout the movie, Banner and McGee develop a tense cat-and-mouse dynamic. However, despite being the series' main antagonist, McGee and Banner rarely shared any actual scenes together after the pilot. For the rest of the show, their paths would cross, but they were almost always kept apart. McGee would typically arrive in town just as Banner was leaving, always one step behind his quarry. This narrative structure was intentional, heightening the tension and reinforcing Banner's isolation. While fans might have expected more direct confrontations, the near misses became a signature element of the show, turning McGee into less of a direct villain and more of a persistent, looming threat that kept David forever on the move. Number 12. The pilot was a hit movie in Europe. While The Incredible Hulk was conceived as a TV movie for American audiences, it got the big screen treatment overseas. The pilot was released theatrically in several European countries, including the UK and France, where it was titled L'Incroyable Hulk. For many international fans, their first introduction to Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno's take on the character was in a movie theater, not on a television screen. This theatrical release helped cement the show's global appeal and gave the pilot a grander, more cinematic reputation abroad. Number 13. Two separate car crashes were filmed on the same day. The pilot features two pivotal car accidents, both shown in flashbacks. The one that killed David's wife, Laura, and a separate one involving the parents of Dr. Elena Marks. Both scenes required flipping a car in a dramatic fashion. To save time and resources, the production team decided to film both stunts on the same day, using the same location and stunt crew. This was a clever bit of production efficiency. By staging and shooting both flips back-to-back, they were able to get two crucial, action-packed sequences in the can with minimal setup changes. It's a small, behind-the-scenes detail that highlights the kind of practical problem-solving needed to make a movie on such a tight schedule and budget. Number 14. Banner's car was a classic Japanese sports coupe. The car that David Banner is driving during the fateful accident that kills his wife, and which he later, as the Hulk, rolls off a cliff, wasn't just any random vehicle. It was a first-generation Toyota Celica ST, a popular Japanese sports coupe from the 1970s. The choice of car adds a touch of realism and period-specific detail to the film. The Celica was known for its sporty look and reliability, making it a believable choice for a successful scientist like David Banner. Seeing that distinct, stylish car get mangled in the crash and later destroyed by the Hulk added a tangible sense of loss and destruction to the scenes, grounding the fantastic events in a very real-world setting. Number 15. A key location was a nod to the original comics. In the pilot, after his first transformation, a terrified David Banner and his colleague, Dr. Elena Marks, retreat to a secluded research facility to study his condition in isolation. They go to a place called the Southwest Lab. This name wasn't random. It was a direct homage to the Hulk's comic book origins. In the early Stan Lee and Jack Kirby comics, Dr. Bruce Banner was an atomic scientist working at the Southwest Missile Base, the very place where he was exposed to the gamma bomb that created the Hulk. This subtle reference was a treat for comic book fans, showing that despite the changes made for television, like the name change and the origin story, the creators still had a deep respect for the source material and wanted to pay tribute to where it all began. Number 16. The director got married the day after filming wrapped. The 18-day shoot for the pilot was intense and demanding. Production officially wrapped at 5:30 in the morning on Saturday, June 18th, 1977. The very next day, Sunday, June 19th, writer and director Kenneth Johnson married his wife, Susan. It's an incredible story of dedication and personal multitasking. Johnson went directly from the immense pressure of finishing a feature-length film to one of the most important days of his personal life, with barely a moment to catch his breath. Number 17. All of Laura Banner's scenes were shot on the first day. The tragic death of David's wife, Laura Banner, is the emotional catalyst for the entire series. Her memory haunts David and fuels his desperate search for a way to tap into the hidden strength she believed all humans possessed. Despite her importance, all of the montage scenes featuring Laura, played by actress Laura Parker, were filmed on the very first day of production, May 23, 1977. In these scenes, the color yellow was used prominently in her wardrobe and surroundings to create a warm, happy visual theme associated with her character. By shooting all of her parts in a single day, the production could efficiently capture the loving backstory that would define David's motivation for the rest of the series. Number 18. The show's legacy popped up in a modern crime drama. The cultural impact of The Incredible Hulk continues to be felt decades later, sometimes in unexpected places. In a 2009 episode of the crime dramedy Castle, a clip from the 1977 pilot makes a surprise appearance. The character of Martha Rogers, played by Susan Sullivan, who herself appeared in the pilot as Dr. Elena Marks, is watching television and revisiting her past acting roles. On the screen is a scene from the Incredible Hulk pilot, creating a fun meta moment for viewers who remembered her from the original movie. It was a clever nod that not only paid tribute to the classic show, but also gave a wink to Sullivan's own career history, connecting two completely different television universes through a shared actor. Number 19. Edward Norton's Hulk paid tribute to Bill Bixby. The 2008 film The Incredible Hulk, starring Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, is filled with nods to the classic TV series, but one of the most heartfelt is a direct tribute to Bill Bixby. Early in the film, while Bruce is hiding out in Brazil, he is seen watching television in his small apartment. The program on the screen is an episode of the sitcom The Courtship of Eddie's Father, a popular show from the late 60s and early 70s that starred Bill Bixby. This subtle Easter egg was a way for the filmmakers to honor the man who first brought such depth and humanity to the role of the tormented scientist. It was a touching gesture, acknowledging that for many, Bill Bixby will always be the definitive face of Dr. Banner. Number 20. It was supposed to be a trilogy of TV movies. Kenneth Johnson's original plan for The Incredible Hulk was very different from what audiences eventually got. When he first pitched the idea to Universal, he envisioned it as a limited trilogy of TV movies rather than an ongoing weekly series. The structure was meant to be simple but powerful. The first movie would introduce David Banner and tell the tragic story of how an experiment gone wrong transformed him into the Hulk. The second would focus on David learning to cope with and possibly control the creature within him. And finally, the third would bring the journey to its conclusion, with Banner discovering a cure and finding peace at last. But television executives had other ideas. The pilot movie aired in November 1977 and pulled in massive ratings, far higher than anyone expected. Universal and CBS immediately saw the potential for something much bigger. Instead of sticking to a closed trilogy, the network pushed to turn the concept into a weekly series, eager to capitalize on its success. This choice dramatically altered the entire trajectory of the story. Instead of a contained arc with a clear ending, The Incredible Hulk became an open-ended saga, following David Banner as he drifted from one town to another and always searching for a cure but never quite finding one. The transformation into a series added a new emotional weight to the character. Banner became a tragic wanderer, forever haunted by the creature inside him, and the show leaned heavily into that theme. In hindsight, this change gave the Hulk TV series its iconic identity. Rather than wrapping up neatly after 3 movies, the show ran for 5 seasons, spun off into additional TV movies in the late 1980s, and cemented itself as one of the most memorable superhero adaptations of its era. What started as a finite story became a classic tale of tragedy, hope, and endless pursuit. And that's 20 weird facts about the 1977 pilot movie for The Incredible Hulk. From casting near misses to clever homages, Kenneth Johnson's heartfelt and action-packed vision created a legacy that still stands tall today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment which movie we should cover next.